Often before I begin creating a document and working with text, I like to go into InDesign and create some color blocking, just to kind of give me a bit of a framework or some groundwork to start working around. I have my page numbering here so that I know that page 2 and page 3, which is up here, actually work together. So what I've done is I've created these color blocks down at the bottom that when the document is folded, it will look like they belong together. These are just some devices that you can use as you're building your document. And I've already created 2 of my 3 corporate swatches. You can see I have my dark blue and I have my orange. The final color that I have to add is that lighter blue, and I've created a graphic frame here that I'd like to fill with that corporate blue, just to kind of fill up this space, because I know that pages 4 and 5 want to look like they belong together. So I'm going to go over here to my fill tool and I'm going to double click. This is going to bring up my color picker tool, and I'm going to dial in the last of the 3 corporate colors. So in this case I've got C95, M is 0, Y is 23, and the K is 0. Before I click on OK, I'm going to add to CMYK swatch, and then I'm going to say OK. You'll notice here in my swatches, and if you're not seeing swatches, just click on swatches and it'll fly out. You can see here that I have at the very bottom my 3 corporate colors that are added to my swatches. So as I want to use them, they're already there, and I don't have to do any of the additional work by having to constantly dial in those numbers. I can just always go back to my swatches and they'll be there. If you're not seeing swatches, you can go up here into Essentials and you can reset your essentials right here. So now I'm ready to start thinking about putting in text into this document, and I'm just going to put a white graphic frame on top of this so that I can start thinking about moving things around aesthetically and think about how it's going to look. So now I'm ready to start thinking about the content, and I'm going to go to page 1 and I'm going to start looking at creating text frames for page 1. I can go about this one of 2 ways. The first way is to go ahead into my text frame, and I'm going to click and drag and drop a text box. Now this doesn't have to be your final format for your text box, but you have to have a place to start. So I've just clicked, dragged, and dropped a text box. Now I can go into Word and I can copy one of the pages at a time, and I can paste them in. So that's one way to do it. In this case I would just do a Control-C and then a Control-V. Another way to do it would be to go in and actually link your document to this one. So that's what I'm going to do, but in order to link the document I actually have to have my Word document closed. Now I'm ready to place this document within my InDesign file. So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to go File, Place. Now as you're working in Design, you'll notice that much like Photoshop and other Adobe programs, there's always hotkeys that are listed here. Place is one of those keys that you're probably going to use often. So you can see here that on a PC it's Control-D, on a Mac it's going to be Command-D. Anytime you see hotkeys for tools that you use often over and over again, you can start thinking about using them instead of going into menu bars to find them. So here I want to go into my design document, BBA Brochure Revised, the one that I've removed all the formatting for. I'm going to double click, and it's going to place it within this dialog box. And you can see down here that I have that overset plus symbol there. That's because I know that I have more content than what's in this dialog box. The first thing I want to do is I want to delete what I don't need. So I'm going to take out the word content. I know that I don't need the word cover page, page 1. I also don't need the instructions, have the logo present on the title page, but I'm going to leave it there to remind me because I have to go back in later and add the logo. So here I'm going to remove the title, and I know that this is a title, I know that this is a subtitle, and then there's some content here. I know that I need to enlarge this box because I've got more content than will fit in this frame. Now don't worry about that. We're going to resize this stuff so that it fits all on this page. But right now I want to concentrate on making sure that I have all of the information that's needed within this on this page. All right. Now you can see here, although it's a little bit difficult to read, I'm going to bump it up a bit. You can see here that the dialog box actually starts talking about the back page, page 6. So I know that the next dialog box that I want to create should actually be page 6, which is this one here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten this box to exclude what I don't want. I'm going to go over here to my type tool. I'm going to create a new text frame. And now what I want to do is I want to click on the selection tool. I want to go over here to my Overset Plus, which is my Overset text box here, and I want to tell InDesign to move the text from this box to this box. So I'm going to click on the plus symbol once, and then twice, move up here within this box, and I'm going to click within this box. Now I have text that's moving from page 1 to page 6, and once again I can go back into the text, and I know that I don't need it to say back page and title, so I'm going to delete that. I know that I want to have this title, Contact Sheridan College Pilon School of Business to book an appointment today, and I have a number of contact individuals. Here I have a break, and I can see here that my next area is title, Path 1, BBA Marketing Management and 3-year Marketing Advanced Diploma. Now each one of these individual columns is a different path to take in order to determine what someone might need in the way of credits to get their BBA from a particular standpoint. I want to keep each individual path on its own column of data. To make it a little bit easier, I'm just going to go ahead and create a bunch of carriage returns. And now what I want to do is I want to move from page 6 to page 2. So now on page 2, I want to go in here, and I want to create another text frame. I'm going to go ahead and create a type frame. Don't worry about all of these individual color blocks after. I'm just using those as a ground point. But basically, now I want to go back up. I want to use my selection tool. I want to click on the red plus sign, that overset box, to tell InDesign to move the content from this column to this text frame. Now, I have my first column of information about the first path. So I can see here I've got title, path 1. I'm going to remove title, and now I've got path 1. Now these are going to be larger than the text frames because the fonts need to be arranged. Until I do that, I just want to expand and make sure that I've got everything I need for this particular column of data. Now I want to move from page 2 to page 3. So now I'm going to go up to page 3. I'm going to create a new type frame. And I can see that I'm on page 3 right here because I've already set up that page numbering system. Now I've created a new text frame. I'm going to go down here, click on my selection tool, find my Overset Plus, and move up and click within this text frame. Now there are a variety of different ways to work with InDesign, and if you know a way that you like to work with differently than this, you're welcome to use that. In Adobe, there's always multiple different ways to achieve the same goal. This is just one way to move text from one text frame to another. Okay, so I'm going to expand this box to make sure that I include all the data from within this particular item to make sure that it's all there. And keep in mind that I'm going to adjust the size of the text later. Now you'll notice that I have an additional item in here. You'll see here that at the bottom it says there's disclaimer. Now something that you may find helpful is to use your pasteboard to include items like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the type tool and I'm going to select and highlight the area that talks about this disclaimer. I might need to just move this off the page a bit so that I can see. So I'm going to take this disclaimer and I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to do a Control X. And actually I'm going to go over here and create a new type frame and I'm going to paste it in. Control V. Okay? Now, I know that this is overset because I've got a plus, so I'm just going to expand this so I can see the whole thing. All right, so I'm going to move this back down here onto page 3, and I want to put in a couple of carriage returns. It's going to be really hard to see, and this is the thing about this particular document. You can notice here it says 2 business electives. That's the last of that area, so I'm going to put in a couple of carriage returns. Okay, and now I need to move from page 3 to page 4. Page 4 and 5 are my last 2 columns of data, so I'm going to go ahead and create another type frame. I'm going to go back up to page 3, use my selection tool, click on the Overset Plus symbol, move the data down to page 4, And I'm going to repeat this process until I've completed the entire document. I also like to delete some of the unnecessary data that you're seeing there. Okay, my final type frame. Selection tool. Okay, now I can see here where it says title path 4, that's where this should go up here. I need to move this down here so I can go in, elongate this box until it's all included, and now I'm good to go. I still have the individual quotes that remain here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create 2 additional text frames for my quotes, which are located here. So in this particular case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this box and I'm going to click on the selection tool, move that into here. There's a disclaimer that needs to be included, so I want to make sure that I include that. I also have 2 more quotes. Actually, I think I'll create another text box for the final quote. So now my next step is to make it look good and make it easy to understand. The biggest challenge you're going to find is that this document has a lot of verbiage. So we still have to fit in some pictures, we still have to fit in some logos, and we have to make this wording make sense and looks good. That's what we're going to work on in our next video.